Well, now let's get back to Nancy on the campaign trail as she gets you closer to the commander-in-chief than any other show. Nancy?
Well, Chris, the First Lady has now joined her husband here in Dubuque, and I'll tell you, the crowd out here is really amped up to see them both. They'll be headed back to the White House tonight, but not before meeting thousands of voters, and ET gets a rare look at how that's done.
It feels good to be back.
We are with the president every step of the way, actually invited to be a part of the presidential motorcade, which includes White House press, campaign staffers, of course, Secret Service, and us. Guess one. Unprecedented access. I was allowed entry to the media pool and the presidential motorcade as it rolls across America's heartland. From gymnasiums to riverfronts around the state of Iowa, traveling from Marshalltown to Cedar Falls to Waterloo and Dubuque, the president stopping to shake hands, delivering rousing stump speeches, and even sharing a beer at a local bar. When the president is on a campaign trip like this, an itinerary is released every day of all the stops he is going to make. Well, today we're actually making an unscheduled stop, and we were invited to come along. I'm just feet from the president, who is clearly in his element. Some locals getting a nice visit from the president. Well, that unexpected stop was right there at the Pump House and Grill, where President Obama had a beer or two and shared a few handshakes with a couple of the locals, much to their thrill.
The campaign rolls out of town with Nancy and our ET cameras on board. They're headed to the next stop. Like a parade on the 4th of July, Americans line the streets of their small towns to catch a glimpse of this motorcade, which is headed by the leader of the free world. Security, of course, is always a top priority when the president is traveling, and Iowa is no different.
At the front of the procession, before the president's bus, 7 state trooper vehicles, and in one of those SUVs, some bomb-sniffing dogs.
Of course, the White House doesn't reveal specifics about how many people are in the motorcade.
Traveling several vehicles behind the president, a shiny red bus with White House staffers in it. Behind them, an ambulance, and then several tactical units. You know them as SWAT teams. The president has several more stops planned before heading back to Washington. But first, he and the First Lady sit down with me. Romney just accused you of running a campaign of hate and anger.
Well, Nancy, you've been on the campaign trail with me for a day and a half, and this is pretty typical of what we do. We're going around the country talking about how do we put people back to work, how do we improve our schools. You know, Governor Romney, I think, has had very sharp critiques of me and my policies. And that's how it should be. That's the nature of a democracy. And I've got sharp disagreements with him in terms of where he would take the country.
Another big issue, bank deregulation. Vice President Joe Biden made controversial remarks about Romney's plans for Wall Street bankers, which would hurt average households.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
When you heard it was phrased that way, what was your reaction?
Joe Biden was talking about, again, is an example of a substantive argument, a substantive issue that the American people should be concerned about, and his phrasing is a distraction from what is at stake.
Sarah Palin coming out and saying that you should replace Biden with Hillary after his chains comment.
You know, actually, I hadn't heard it.
That's the first time you heard it? Yeah. Well, what do you think of it?
Look, we don't spend a lot of time worrying about the chatter. You know, the country's not as divided or obsessed with gaffes or some stray remark as Washington is.
Well, we asked the president and the First Lady some questions that only Entertainment Tonight can ask them. We'll have that for you beginning on Monday. Chris.
What a cool assignment. Great job, Nancy. And hey, you are the First Lady of ET. Can't wait to see you back here tomorrow. All right, right now, the world is waiting for the first glimpse of Jennifer Aniston's engagement ring. Just how big is that rock?